out there in the audience to enjoy it. So I won't say too much else. What I do want to say is that we have a very special guest. Robert Kelly is a film historian, and he's going to talk to you all for a little bit about the Thin Man series. So.
Thank you. The Thin Man was based on the novel, of course, by Dashiell Hammett, which was published earlier that same year. Hammett had worked as a Pinkerton detective, and he used those experiences for the book. He also drew from real life for the interplay between Nick and Nora Charles, namely on his on-again, off-again relationship with the playwright Lillian Hellman. Married screenwriters Albert Hackett and Frances Goodrich were brought on board to write the film's screenplay. They were instructed to use the book as merely a guide and instead focus on the banter between the two leads. Thin Man was directed by W.S. Woody One Take Van Dyke. The studio did not like his suggestion of casting William Powell or Myrna Loy. They thought that Powell at 42 was too old and straight-laced to play Nick, and that Loy was too exotic. Just a year earlier, she had played femme fatale Fan Lo Si, daughter of Boris Karloff in The Mask of Fu Manchu. On top of that, Loy was already scheduled to shoot another film, which meant if she was given the role, Van Dyke was going to have to complete The Thin Man in less than 3 weeks. He got it done in 18 days. One of the ways that Van Dyke and his cinematographer, James Wong Howe, were able to meet this absurd schedule was by embracing improvisation. Now that seems counterintuitive. It's natural to think that if you have so little time to shoot the film, you'd go into the shoot with every scene worked out beforehand. Instead, Van Dyke encouraged his leads to approach certain scenes the way they would in real life. If that worked, Van Dyke didn't bother with close-ups or other coverage. He just let the scenes play out naturally. One example of that is our introduction to Nick, where the camera pans through numerous extras to reveal our hero teaching a bunch of bartenders how to properly make a cocktail. He handed Powell a shaker and told him to just feel it out. Powell nailed the scene. He added some improvised lines, not knowing he was being filmed. When he was done, he heard Van Dyke yell out, "That's it, print it," and they moved on. That kind of unfussy looseness continues throughout The Thin Man, which stands in contrast to the grand, classy MGM style at the time. Sometimes characters have their backs to the camera or partially obscuring the actor who is talking. Scenes play out in medium or long shots with only a handful of close-ups. You never feel like the characters are walking across sets, hitting their marks, and then waiting to say their lines. Instead, these conversations are messy, sometimes overlapping, and it gives the movie a real sense of verisimilitude. Of course, none of that would really matter if not for the leads. I don't think any man and woman have had greater on-screen chemistry than William Powell and Myrna Loy. They first appeared together in 1934's Manhattan melodrama, also directed by Van Dyke. But in The Thin Man, they showed something on screen rarely seen before. A married couple that not only loved each other, but liked each other. Nick and Nora drink together a lot. They banter, they flirt, they make fun of one another. Later films would make the couple a little more family friendly. They even have a son eventually. But in the pre-code days of The Thin Man, the filmmakers were able to subtly suggest that this husband and wife really had the hots for one another. In 1998, film historian Andrew Sarris put it like this: Nick and Nora were the first on-screen Hollywood couple for whom matrimony did not signal the end of sex, romance, and adventure. I remember seeing The Thin Man for the first time when I worked at a video store in my 20s. To quote John Cusack in High Fidelity, "It takes a certain kind of person to be in your 20s, yet worried you're going to be alone the rest of your life." I was that kind of person, and I can still vividly recall watching The Thin Man play out and thinking, this is it. This is the kind of relationship I want to have. I had no examples of that in real life, but here was a movie from half a century ago giving me just that. Despite not being romantically linked in real life, although the public often thought they were, Powell and Loy have a verbal and physical intimacy with one another that is almost impossible to fake. After The Thin Man was a huge hit, the studio knew what they had. Powell and Loy would headline 11 more movies together, including 5 Thin Man sequels. Their last on-screen pairing in 1947's The Senator Was Indiscreet underscores how much the public thought of them as an inseparable duo. In that film, Powell's corrupt Senator Melvin Ashton has a wife who is mentioned multiple times but never seen. At the end of the film, Ashton is forced to flee to a remote island with his wife, who is played by, in an uncredited one-line cameo, Myrna Loy. Powell would retire in 1955, but Loy continued in movies and TV for decades, and, partially thanks to her breakout role in The Thin Man, had an even bigger career, appearing in masterpieces like 1946's The Best Years of Our Lives. Director William Wyler begged her to be in that film because he could not imagine a more quintessentially American wife and partner than Myrna Loy. One last thing I want to mention. Even though this movie is readily available on the device in all of your pockets, you all came here at this appointed time to see this movie together. I think that's because people who value seeing movies on the big screen have a powerful, unconscious desire to, as Martin Scorsese has put it, share a common memory. So let's all experience this wonderful movie together. Thank you.